Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me Anarghya, and today's book review is gonna be about Then She Was Gone by jewell. I read this book in like 2 days and I won't be making an explanation on it. I'll just give you a review. So let's get started, and before we do, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I post new content every now and then, so yeah, let's get started. First, let me give you like a basic storyline and then I'll proceed with the review. So the story basically begins with our main character Laurel Mack, who is a mother of 3, and her youngest favorite daughter Ellie Mack basically is just gone one day. She was going to the library and she was like a pretty decent girl, you know, the perfect golden child of hers, and she was her favorite child, and you know the other children were not so favorite of hers, and she was kind of like a little partial towards her, and she literally goes missing one day. She said that she was going to the library and she never returns, and she was just gone, and police has been searching for her for like 10 years now. Ellie was 15 when she was lost, and she's 25. I mean, technically she should be 25, and she's still not found by the police. And basically the police just, you know, says that she is, you know, she ran away. And however, Laurel doesn't really believe that, but there's nothing much she can do about it. And her love, her, you know, her undying love for Ellie basically, you know, creates a boundary between her and her family. You know, she separates with her husband, her bond with her other kids also like loosens up, and she basically, her life starts going downhill until one day it is basically found, her body, you know, remains of Ellie's bodies are found, and now basically the police says that, you know, Laurel got her closure, and now finally she has to move on because now there's nothing more to know about. And then, you know, Laurel basically was sitting in a cafe and she meets this very random old guy, you know, of her age, and he strikes up a conversation with her. He flirts with her. He gives her his number, and she's kind of surprised, like she was just given the closure, and is this what happening, is this all fate, and like who's this guy? And the story basically goes on, and she starts dating the guy, and her life basically after 10 years starts feeling like it's falling into place, and you know, things are starting to get normal. And the daughter, you know, Floyd's daughter basically resembles a lot to Ellie. Now this is where the whole scenario gets a little interesting. So now, you know, Laurel is kind of like, there's a lot of, you know, plot holes in the whole thing, and she's wondering what's happening. You know, there's so many connections she feels to this guy, and there's so much common, and there's more to the situation. That's all she can think of, and that is where the story continues, and the rest is for you to read. And personally, just to say, you know, like when I read this book, like when I was even reading this and when I like reached this point, it was like literally 1/7 or 1/6 of the book. Like I had already figured out what the, you know, overall plot twist would be, and I'm pretty sure you would too once you read it. And while reading it, you can even think of how it forms. Like it's not, I mean, it is a big plot twist, but it's still like sort of predictable if you read enough thriller books. But still, you know, the story is so well written, and the whole it's just like a whole different world, you know, like you feel connected to the characters as soon as you start reading it. It's just written in a very, 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 very beautiful manner. And I personally, I read it in a form of like, I listened to it in a form of audiobook, and the audiobook was so nicely narrated, like I just couldn't let go. Although I knew what was gonna happen, I was still so bound, and I was like so unattachably, like I was just constantly listening to it like the whole time until and unless I finished it. I finished it like in 1.5 sitting, like that's it. That's how long it took me, and it was amazing. Although I knew what was gonna happen, it was just so interesting and so amazing still that you just have to read it to find out. And I would personally say that this is a good thriller. More than a thriller, it's just like the book is very well written, and the characters are very beautiful, and even, you know, like you just somehow feel relatable to each of the character. Like each of the character is relatable in its own way, and you don't feel like any character is just out of place. They're just very perfectly placed, and the story plays out in a very interesting manner. And although you know what's gonna happen, it's still amazing to read and find out. And there's a lot of extras too, you know, like first of all, I want to talk about Laurel Mack's character development. That is huge, 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 and her connection with her family, how she rebuilds it, how she finds out, you know, the difference between like genuine love and like, like obsession and everything. There's a lot of things going on, and even if you see characters who are in negative roles, like no one's a villain over here, right? And yeah, you can read to find out. And I personally really like this book, and if you are into thrillers, I would totally recommend it. It was a bestseller, so yeah, you must have probably heard about it. So yeah, if you want to read it out, fine. If you want to find out more about what happened to Ellie and Laurel and the whole thing with Floyd, so you have to read the book to find out, obviously. And yeah, I personally liked it, and I'm pretty sure you will too, for one reason or the other. Okay, I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe, and until next time, bye bye and take care.